What's up, guys? You're listening to Confessions of a Gym Rat, getting you through the 9 to 5 as healthily and happily as possible. Happy Monday, guys. I'm just trying to get my bearings straight here. My hair is still kind of wet from the shower, but it's okay. It's okay. We're doing okay. Yeah, so it's Monday again, which is, I'm recording this on a Thursday, so it's always kind of hard, like putting myself in the Monday attitude when it's just not Monday for me. I normally record on Saturdays, but I'm going to Philly this weekend and I had off on Thursday. So that's what we're doing. It's been an exciting week for me. Let me just fix my microphone here. I had this thought. I should preface by saying I'm the type of person where I'm always taking on something new. I just want to be as well-rounded as possible. I have a million interests. It's like growing up, I learned how to play instruments, but I wanted to do sports, and I would draw and paint and read and write and learn how to knit and just take everything in under my arms as much as I could. So I had this thought. I was listening to Bad Bunny in the car. My headphones in, my dad's driving. I have Titi Me Pregunto on repeat. And I was like, I really wish that I understood a single word that Bad Bunny was saying in any of his songs. And I do know a little bit, like I was kind of able to figure out what Titi Me Pregunta meant. I wasn't 100% sure, so I checked on Google Translate. Google Translate was giving me something way off, which made me doubt myself even more. So then I texted my friend who is bilingual, and he was like, no, it means like auntie asked me. So there's some words I know. Like I know, like there's a mucha novia in there, that's many girlfriends. But I don't understand, like he speaks so fast, and people that are fluent in the language do, that it doesn't really come in. Reading it, maybe I can get here and there. Anyway, so that's what started this. And then I was like, being bilingual is really cool. I have a lot of friends that are bilingual or that could speak like a decent amount of a different language, mostly Spanish, I guess. But I was like, damn, I'm not bilingual at all. I know bits and pieces of Spanish, but it would be really cool for me to know one of the languages of my ethnicity. And that leaves me two options. We have Italian, very close to Spanish, or Mandarin, one of the literal hardest languages to learn, read, and write. So I said, yeah, I'm going to learn Italian because I even told my dad, was like, do you want to learn Mandarin? And I was like, nope. No, I do not. You teach me the words that I need to know. I've never had to use it before. My brain, that's too much for me to tackle. Maybe once I get Italian under my belt, but I just don't think I'm ready for Mandarin. I will stick to Latin-based languages. So I did my thing, and by that I mean I downloaded Duolingo. Great app in my opinion. It's like Italian and Spanish are close in a sense where they're both Latin-based languages, so some words overlap and there's similar rules, like the feminine words and the masculine words with like the O and the A, and making sure that like the verbs match up with the subject. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Don't ask me about grammar. But what I like about Duolingo, and I haven't tried any other apps or sources, so I can't really compare it to anything, but it's like a game. And I like that. That's very appealing to me. There's things you can unlock, points you can collect, like leagues you can be in. And I'm very competitive in that sense. And y'all know that I have a sickening habit of spending way too much time on Candy Crush. So I said, you know what? Let me use like the time that I spend on like my iPad, my phone, like just doing whatever, learning another language so I can build my skills as a human being. So what is this? This is Thursday. I started Sunday. I'm like 5 days in right now. So far, it's very similar to Spanish class where I don't know if you guys remember, for some reason I do, when I was in 3rd grade and we started Spanish, it was like, they don't sit you down and they're like, this is how you say hello. This is how you, like, they don't sit you necessarily through the essentials. It's like, okay, let's start in a unit and we're going to go over this unit together. And then you build on it from there. So I started in a coffee shop. It was learning how to say like a coffee, the coffee, I have a coffee, stuff like that. And just getting used to some words like around a coffee shop. I guess the theme is like if it's travel based, like if I were going to Italy, like the things I would need to know to get around. And then as the units progress, it was like, okay, now you know how to say I am so-and-so. How do you say my name is so-and-so, or he is so-and-so, or he has? The difference between have, has, there, like all that kind of stuff. So we're building on top of each other. I'm in intro to Italian, so we're still taking it slow. But I've progressed onto section 5, and I'm liking it. I'm liking it so far. It's just I get a little, like when I go to type something, I have to remember like, oh, it's not L, it's il. It like the little things that are so close to Spanish, but they're different. And like you have is tu hay, but in Spanish it's tu tiene, or whatever the Spanish. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Close enough if that wasn't right. So I go there. There's been times where I go to say the Spanish word, and then I'm like, oh, different language. We're rewiring the brain. So I will check back in a few. I'll check back every week. You know, I'll do that. I'll check in with you guys, hold myself accountable, show off my Italian skills. You guys can learn and grow with me. But I'll start off really easy. I will tell you that my name is Liz, and I want a coffee. Ready? Okay. I'll say hi. I'll say hi, my name is Liz. No, wait, now I'm nervous. Now that like the camera's rolling, I'm nervous. Okay. Ciao. Mi chiamo Liz. Quiero un café. Por favor. Por favor. God damn it. I just messed up. Per favore. That's what I mean. Like in Spanish, it's por favor. Thank you, por favor. In Italian, it's per favore. Okay, let's rewind. Hold on. Ciao, me chiamo Liz. Quiero un café. Per favore. Boom, perfect. I think the first time I said it, I said S, like me chiamo S, because that's another thing. Is in Spanish is S, is in Italian is eh. So, whatever. That was good. I'm proud of myself. We're 1 week in. And just so you know, so I called my grandpa before I finish the Italian talk. Let's get this out on the table. Called my grandpa this week. Little information on my grandpa. He is 86 years old, but he's rocking and rolling. His name is Carmine Pasquale. Need I say? This is an Italian man. Brooklyn born, like as basic as it gets here in America. Little Carmine, at the ripe age of 5, went off to kindergarten and didn't know a lick of English because his parents were from Italy and they didn't know English. So when Carmine popped on out of the womb, he learned how to speak Italian, not English. My grandfather refused, screamed, kicked, cried, refused to go to kindergarten because he was so stressed out as a 5-year-old from not knowing the language. He actually pulled himself out of kindergarten and went a year later when he knew English. So Italian's my grandpa's first language. He hasn't really had to use it in a while, but then him and my grandmother went to Italy a few years ago and he said it just all came back to him. So I call him and I go, Grandpa, I have to speak loud because, little hearing. And he's like, what? I'm like, just wanted to call and tell you that I'm learning Italian. And he's like, oh yeah? How do you say grandpa? And for a second, I was like, ooh, we didn't learn that one yet. And then I was like, oh wait, I know that one. I just know that one. It's no. And he goes, no. no. It's not no. It's a no. And I said, oh, God, Grandpa, I'm so sorry. And he was like, yeah, it's no. You got to pronounce it right. I'm like, well, anyway, so I can tell you that I'm Liz. And he was impressed. He encouraged me, which is great because sometimes he could be a little sour old man, but I think I impressed him. And I'm going to call him now and update him and give him something to look forward to. Plus, I should probably talk to him more often than I do. But that's my Italian story. I'm going to keep updating you guys so I hold myself accountable and so I don't embarrass myself in front of old Carmine anymore. Oh my gosh. So I wrote down on a piece of Post-it note, very classy of me, the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And, last week I came in here really, really fired on up about the Jonas Brothers. I told you guys they're doing a 5-day residency in a Broadway theater the week that I'm going to be in LA. And I was gutted by this news. But then I listened to Chicks in the Office this week, and they had brought something to my attention that I didn't even realize. You guys remember a few months ago with the whole Eras Tour debacle and Ticketmaster? I think that even if you weren't directly involved or you didn't listen to the episode and hear me talk about it, you know what happened. And in summary, it was the biggest shit show I've ever seen. That stressed me out. Went on a rant about that. I think like 2 weeks later, I went on a rant about how Ticketmaster fucked up Morgan Wallen for me, but I ended up getting tickets, so it's fine. But I've proclaimed that we are an anti-Ticketmaster podcast and that I am just so done with Ticketmaster. And I love how like Taylor Swift was such a shit show, and they've continued to change absolutely nothing about their process. You know what? I did put this together. It was a thought in my head where I was like, they're doing this at a Broadway theater. If you've never been, Broadway theaters are pretty intimate. It's like, I've sat in all different places. Sure, there's better seats than other, but there's none that are terrible. There's no nosebleeds in a Broadway theater. It's like 2 levels. It could fit, 1,600 people max? Apparently, Ticketmaster had tweeted out. I can't directly quote them, so I'm probably going to misquote this because I don't have it up in front of me, but they were basically like, Jonas Brothers fans, be prepared. This is going to be a madhouse. And I love that they're acknowledging it, but again, changing nothing about it. Like, if you know it's going to be a madhouse, like, why don't we sit down and have a little meeting and try and figure out what to do here about this? But you got to think about it. In New York City alone, there's a crap ton of people. But you're going to have people coming in from Jersey, from Connecticut, from PA, like, who knows? Like, there's Jonas Brothers fans everywhere. I understand they're doing 5 nights, but 1,600 seats. I'm going to guess the theater's around 1,600. Not a lot of seats. I also don't know how it would work with like, okay, what if I wanted to go on night 1 and I wanted to see the Jonas Brothers album being played, but then that's sold out? Do I get to choose a different night? Like, I don't really know how all that's going to work. And I honestly got a little bit stressed thinking about it. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that I'm not going to be here, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to get stressed out about it. I don't have to get disappointed if I don't get tickets to it. It's just, and also there's nothing I could do about it. Like, I'm literally not going to be here. So I just have to look at it on the bright side, or I will cry tears out of my brain. So that's out of my eyes. Sometimes I get on here and things just come out of my mouth and I'm like, Liz, you are an intelligent person, but why do you just never sound like you are? I don't know. But yeah, so that's the way I'm looking at the Jonas Brothers. Blessing in disguise. But moving on from that, I'm done talking about that. I told you guys last week I was going to get around to Grey's Anatomy because I was too consumed with Outer Banks, which we'll get to. We'll get to that. I was too consumed with Outer Banks that I forgot to watch Grey's Anatomy, but I did. And I said I would before I came back here, and I would give my thoughts. Like I said, like I predicted, I don't have too much to say about it. It seems like Meredith's not really gone. I think if she was going to be like done, they would have done something like when she left the hospital, they would have done flashbacks. And to be honest, I was preparing for that and I started crying. And I cried prematurely. The show didn't make me cry. I made me cry. They have this scene. This isn't really spoiling anything because it's in every commercial for the show. They have a scene where they get her a cake and it's like a going away thing. And she's looking around. And as she's looking around, I was like, oh, get ready, Liz. Like, they're going to play a montage of flashbacks from the last 19 years. So then I started thinking about young Meredith and Meredith before she was with Derek and Izzy and George, and then she's with Derek, and then the shooting, and then the plane crash, and Arizona, and Mark, and Lexi, and tears streaming down my face. Just thinking about everything that's gone on there and the fact that Derek's dead. And then the scene ended, and I was like, oh, they didn't do any of that. I made myself cry. But yeah, it really doesn't seem like Meredith's going to be gone. I think she's just like I think Ellen Pompeo is just taking a back seat on the role, but I hope she still narrates at least for the rest of the season. It's just Grey's Anatomy is just like, it's not what it was, man. Even Amelia's just turned down a weird path. I miss Alex. It's just not. I miss Lexi. It's just not the same. It's not the same. Yet I feel like I've come so far I can't stop watching. But I miss it. Oh, God. Now I'm reminiscing. Anyway, so that was that. That was Grey's Anatomy. The Last of Us. Let's get into The Last of Us before I forget. Episode, what were we on? 7? Little slow until the end. Bella Ramsey, her best episode yet. Her best episode yet. She does an unmatchable job of encompassing Ellie. She goes from being a badass, untouchable, punching people in the face, holding guns, like holding her own, defending herself in this world. And then a split second later reverts back to being a young child girl who loves things like pun books and stuff. And the way that she's able to transition and show both sides, she deserves every award possible for this role. She is just, that girl is one heck of a dang actress, you know? So I had I had a sense of anticipation the whole episode. I was like, it's going to come. There's going to be an infected. I know there is. But damn, when that moment came, that scene was tough. It was like the whole episode was kind of slow and like you knew it was going to be because it was a backstory. But goddamn. First of all, I guess that's how Ellie gets bit. Like we see her get bit. But the fact that it bit, oh God, I'm forgetting the girl's name. Whoever Storm Reed played. I'm forgetting her name, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about. The friend. That's tough. It's like it's basically a death sentence. And I mean, we know what happens to Ellie because we know, but that was tough. And the way that she reacted in that scene, and the way that Bella Ramsey played it was such a good scene. Such a good scene. And we see that there's hope for Joel, which I kind of knew there wasn't sure how she was going to go about doing it, but yeah, there we go. I had to close my eyes at that point. I can deal with listen, I watched all of Grey's Anatomy. Stitches though, can't do them. When there's stitches, I gotta look away. It's something about it, like the fact that it's sewing, like you could sew clothes, but in human skin, really makes me want to cringe out of my skin. So couldn't look at that part, but it looks like Joel's going to be okay. And That's what I needed. So fine. So be it. Excited to see next week, but I'm also getting nervous, like, as the weeks go on. I'm like, oh, we're getting closer to the end of the season. I don't want it to be the end of the season. And if the season's gonna end, like, let's go move on with House of Dragon. Please. But another great episode. I know people have been complaining, like, oh, slow, but it's necessary information. It's needed. And I thought that the ending was worth the slowness. That last scene, my jaw physically dropped. I knew it was gonna come, but it still had me locked in. So I liked the episode. But that's it for TV for the week. I want to save the rest of my thoughts for the Outer Banks recap, because I've got words, I've got notes, I've got questions that need to be answered. But we'll get to that. When we get to that. One thing I did want to bring up before it slips my little noggin, I am going to be doing my first ever meet and greet. I'm excited but also nervous at Kingdom in New Jersey. It's in Morganville, New Jersey. So if you're in the area, if you're in driving distance, please come see me. It'll be on March 25th. I don't have like the times worked out yet, but what's going to happen is I'm going to have tickets for sale, and they're going to be super cheap, like $10 or something. And the ticket will basically be, it's not going to me, it'll be going to the gym, and that's basically like your entrance fee. Like, you can work out, you could hang out all day. It's like your little day pass. And I don't know if you guys have been to a lot of gyms and done day passes, but day passes are like $25 to $30, so like kind of a scam. But I will be doing that the weekend of the 25th at Kingdom, so pay attention for all my announcements and posting and stuff. But I really want to meet you guys and talk to you guys and like actually get to know you on a personal level. So I'm super, super excited about that. I finalized things, like I set it out there. We made a plan today. I hung around but I think I hung around for like a solid hour, like over an hour at the gym after I finished my workout today. And let me tell you, it is a shame that we did not have microphones on and cameras rolling the entire conversation we have. I don't even know how it started. I don't even know how it started. Actually, it started, no. I'm just going to work through my brain here. It started because one of my friends at the gym asked me about working full time, and we were talking about that stuff. And then we went down this path of like philosophies and mottos and like, if you could dream it, you could believe it, like type stuff. We got so existential. My head was going to fall off of my neck. I shit you not. But something was brought to my attention today that I didn't know. Maybe you guys just knew this. I know me and John, the owner of the gym, he didn't know, so I'm not the only idiot on this earth. So one of my friends that I was talking to at the gym brought up that he is not so sure that the earth is round. He said, hey, it could be flat. I've had pilot friends tell me they've seen things and it's flat. And I was like, dude, when you're in a plane, like, you can't see everything. Like, what about the pictures from space? Like, all that stuff. And then that went into a whole, like, well, why haven't we been back in space? Why haven't we been to the moon? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I don't work for NASA. Don't ask me. I don't know. But we started to get into this whole earth, flat, round thing. And John said, okay, if the earth's flat, where's the end? Like where are the edges of it? There's got to be 4 edges. And my friend said, well, you can't see them because we're not allowed to go to Antarctica. And I was like, all right, pause. First of all, Antarctica can't be all 4 corners of the earth and the whole perimeter. And he said, no. There's apparently conspiracy theories that Antarctica, the map that we know of the earth is a lie, and that Antarctica actually surrounds the border of this flat earth. And I was like, well, then why haven't we seen it? Like, why hasn't anyone seen it? Like, we have pictures. And he said, which I did not know, you cannot fly over Antarctica. You cannot go to Antarctica. Apparently, it's like multiple nations have signed like a peace treaty or something, and it's like it's forbidden land. Like people have tried to fly over it and they get sent right back. You get like, I guess, air marshals or whatever. You can't go there. You can't go there at all. I didn't know that. And I said, that's suspicious. Those were the exact words that came out of my mouth. I said, that is very suspicious. I got to look it up, or if anyone knows, like, please tell me in the comments. Like, I'm curious now. I don't normally like to get into these whole things because I'm like, why am I going to worry if the earth is flat around? What does it matter to me? Why am I going to stress myself out about that? Like, either way, I'm here. I'm living another day. I don't give a shit if the earth is flat around. I don't give a shit. But you get me on the conspiracy theories. There are some things that I just don't like. Why can't we fly over Antarctica? What's there? Are we protecting it? Because I'm going to assume, and this is based, like, I haven't looked anything up, just making that clear. I'm going to assume that it has something to do with like preserving nature and the polar bears and the penguins are like endangered and like making sure the ice caps don't melt. But I don't know, man. It's real suspicious, and I gotta look farther into it because I'm not gonna be able to rest. But we just got into it today. This whole, like, we're talking about time and who created time. Like, time's just a man-made concept. And then I personally, a question that always breaches my mind is, who the fuck thought of the alphabet? And how did they decide, okay, yeah, everyone's going to use this alphabet? That's it. And I know different countries use like different symbols and whatever, but let's say you're speaking Spanish, you're speaking Italian, you're speaking English. The letters are the same. You know, there's A, B, C, D. Some of them have different accents and tildes and whatever. But who said, yes, A is going to be A, and B is going to be B, and C is going to be C. And we created this language, let's say Latin, and now we're going to create a different language that's sort of similar to Latin, and everywhere it's going to translate. And we're going to figure out the translations. Like, why? Did multiple people start languages at different times and then somehow they combined? Because if not, why didn't we all just speak the same language? And who decided what letters were, what they meant, who created words? And now my brain's going to explode. My brain's going to explode thinking about who were the first people to communicate and how they did so. And this is why I can't worry about these things. Otherwise, it drives me insane. And it's just sometimes you're better off just not thinking about it. But when you do, it'll kill you. It'll kill you. But I probably just gave you a headache talking about that. So I'm going to leave this intro off with a funny story, something enlightening, something not enlightening, something a little light before we get into this week's episode. This is a story for y'all. I went out to dinner this week with my friend, my old roommate from school. We sit down, you know, she's dressed nice, I'm dressed nice. You guys know me, I like a little fashion statement. I got this leather jacket on, it's got some rhinestones dangling down. Feeling great. We order some drinks, we get some dinner, we're finishing up our salads. The waitress comes over. And she's like, I know this is weird. This is super fucking weird. But the guy behind me in the purple shirt bought you this drink. I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, I'm like, that's not that weird, whatever. She's like, all right. So she gives me the drink. And she moves away, and I see the guy in the purple shirt, and I'm like, ooh. This guy in the purple shirt kind of looks like he hasn't talked to a lady before, but we're just going to roll with it. So I drank my drink. And my friend's like, you know what? I'll get one. I'll get another drink too. You can give me a glass of wine. So the waitress comes over, brings her a glass of wine, and was like, okay, I'm so sorry for intruding on your personal space, but do you have a boyfriend? And I said, why? And she said, well, he was like, I'm going to go over and talk to her. And I said, you know what? That might not be a good idea. Like, she might have a boyfriend. Like, let me find out. So I looked at her and said, as far as he knows, I have a boyfriend. And she was like, yep, got it. Good. So she walks away or whatever. My friend gets her drink. My friend goes to go to the bathroom and I see her talking to the waitress. I'm like, what are they talking about? And then she comes back from the bathroom. So I was like, yo, what did the waitress say to you? She's like, ow, she told me to like be careful and watch out because that guy was like, I want to ask them to come to my Airbnb. And his Airbnb's in like Mexico. And I was like, dude, what? And she's like, I have no idea. And I was like, okay, that's fucking weird. So then another waitress comes up and she's like, dude, run. She's like, this shit is weird. Like, he wants to invite you guys to his Airbnb. Like, it's freaking weird. Drops the receipt that I guess he had told her to give us, which was like his receipt that he signed on the back with his Instagram handle. And in parentheses, it said, come to my Airbnb, smiley face. I looked at the note and the waitress was like, I don't know. He starts to walk over. She's like, smile, just smile and nod, smile and nod. So I'm sitting there like, yeah, like listening to what she's saying, like smiling, like laughing. And he comes over and he's like, what she's trying to say is hi. And he looks at me and goes, I understand you have a boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God. She's like, but, I bought you guys some drinks. I was just wondering, you ever want to come down to my Airbnb? Give you guys 50% off. Come stay. And walks away. And the waitress is like, bye. And I'm like, okay. So I look at the receipt again. And I'm like, Lane, this is how, like, you get sex trafficked. Like, this is so... Right? Come to my Airbnb, smiley face. Not a phone number, just an Instagram handle. I was like, this is like how we die. Like this is like if we were dumb, like this is like how we die. So we're laughing. I just like took a picture of it. And he was like, oh, looking in our direction. But hey, we got some stuff paid for. The waitress, we said to the waitress, like, we were like, can we get our check? And then she kind of walked in front of us and we were like, you know what? It's time to go. And we beelined out of there because I was like, I literally said to my friend before, I was like, if we see him get up and go to our, like, follow us out, like, do not go to your car, like, come back inside, like, say we forgot something. But no, it all worked out well. It turns out, I guess that guy is just not that good with ladies. But yeah, I thought that was I was like, you know what? These things happen so I could share them on the podcast. That's a first one. I've gotten the number. I've gotten what's your Instagram, what's your Snapchat. You want to come back to my place? Like all that stuff. And it's like, no, boring, blah. I've never been invited to somebody's Airbnb via receipt in Mexico. And I was like, you want me to come to your Airbnb and pay 50% now? Like, you're trying to traffic me into your Airbnb? I'm paying nothing. So just an interesting, it's never a dull day here. But anyway, we do have an exciting episode ahead. I do have a great interview for you guys that I'm super excited for you guys to listen to. We got our little educational piece, going to be talking a lot about sets and reps and how the heck do you know what reps to be using and what does training till failure mean? And then I'm going to be doing my Outer Banks Outer Banks season 3 part 2 recap, which if you are done with the season, I highly encourage you to listen to this. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your theories. I want to hear your opinions because God knows I have a shit ton of mine. So let's get into this week's highlights. I am ready to share with you guys this one. I think like one of the top things I get asked is like questions about clothes I wear, or I get really positive feedback when I share that kind of stuff. So this week's health and fitness related highlight is actually going to be related to gym clothes rather than like an actual lift or something. But you know what? I think that's a good opportunity to stop and just remember, like, I think that investing in gym clothes that you feel good in, even if they're expensive, like investing in it is so worth it for multiple reasons. One, odds are, I mean, if you're shopping from, I've shopped from Lululemon, Alphalete, Gymshark, like all these places, their stuff does hold up. I haven't really had any faults, like it will last you years. Two, and more importantly, feeling confident and comfortable in your body is so important that for me, it is worth it to buy clothes that I feel comfortable and confident in, because the gym can be a scary space, and if you're walking in there and you don't feel great, or you're looking in the mirror and you're comparing, it's hard, you shouldn't, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys that it's like I go every day without comparing my outfit to what somebody else is wearing in the gym or something like that. It's not a great habit, but it's human nature. So investing in gym clothes that you feel confident in and comfortable, I think is so worth it. So the reason why I'm saying all this is I got some beautiful additions to my collection, my overgrown collection. Seriously, I don't have space for everything. This past week, and I had to share it with you guys. So Paragon Footwear is launching their new Valley collection on March 7th. Mark that in your calendars. But I got some pieces early, and I'm absolutely obsessed with them. I think I've worn, oh my gosh, I got 2 tops, and I've worn them like at least 3 times in the past week since I've got them. So a common complaint that I get about the Lululemon Alliance is that people don't like the front seam. For me personally, the front seam has never bothered me. I don't even realize that it's there. I don't know, but I've heard from people, it feels weird. It sits in a weird place, whatever. Paragon has their sculpt seam leggings, and they look exactly like the Alliance, but they're half the price. They have a little scrunch on the inside of the butt so it lifts your cheeks up, and no front seam. My favorite pair of leggings. They're skin tight, like the Alliance, and I just feel so confident and comfortable and happy in these leggings. So I already have the black pair, but I added the blue pair that will be launching on the 7th, which I think is Tuesday, right? Because this is coming out the 6th. Yeah, Tuesday. I got a navy blue pair, and it's just, you can't go wrong. And for the price, plus, my code, it's in my Instagram bio. I'm not going to plug it here. We'll give you an extra discount. But I did add another pair of leggings to my collection. Best leggings I own. New tank top that they're releasing. It's like a cropped cami. Really cute. I'm more of a sports bra person when I work out, but I need athleisure clothing for when I'm running errands and stuff like that, especially in the summer as it starts to get hot out, and it's not super cropped, it's like appropriate cropped. So it pairs perfectly with the leggings. I'm sure that it would look great. You could even wear it with like gym shorts or denim shorts. It's a very versatile top, and it's one of those that has like the double lining. So there's the lining for like a sports bra and the straps are adjustable. It's also plain. Like the look is just plain. There's nothing fancy to it, which personally I've been a big fan of in the past year, just because I think that there's longevity to those types of pieces. Like they don't go out of style, those staple pieces. Anyway, the last 2 items I got were the same, but in 2 different colors. One in khaki to match the tank top, and one in black because black goes with everything. Short sleeve crop tops. I have been obsessed with short sleeve crop tops lately. And I'm talking like the skin tight crop tops. Great pump cover. First of all, great for, again, if you want to throw it on over your sports bra because you're running errands or something after the gym. Looks totally casual and cute. And personally, I think it sits on my shoulder caps really nicely. So it kind of accentuates the arms, I won't lie. But again, it's that same silky smooth material, plain, nothing fancy to it. There's no obnoxious branding either, which I really like personally. But I have been dying for Paragon to release something like this because I'm just obsessed with the short sleeve crop lately. And if you're listening on YouTube, I've attached like pictures so you can see and just get the actual visual, but I've been posting about it. They've been posting about it. Very affordable too. I think as far as gym clothes go, that these are affordable, and I will run to this launch. I couldn't gatekeep these. I'm obsessed with them. If I could wear these pieces every single day, I would. Maybe I could even wear the crop like right now filming my podcast, and you guys wouldn't be like, "Oh, that's a gym shirt." Like it's versatile. I love the versatile pieces. Whew. But that's my health and fitness related highlight. Moving on to non-health and fitness related highlights. I gotta give it to the music drops for this week. And I couldn't pick just one because there were a few and I want to cover them all. So if you are not interested, then fast forward to the next segment. It'll be more worth your while, but it was another exciting week in music this week. By the way, I think I should have mentioned, or I meant to mention, I made a little mental note. I literally just got finished talking about the Jonas Brothers and how I'm glad that I'll avoid what I think will be a shit show. Turns out it was a shit show, the whole Ticketmaster thing. So I'm glad I avoided that. You know, this little residency just wasn't for me. Anyway, Morgan Wallen, new album. I put on my poll, should I review this album? I put on my poll. I put on a story, a poll. Should I review this album? Yes or no? I think I got a decent amount of votes for yes, but then I actually listened through it and I just don't feel like reviewing the whole thing. I will say, let me say this. Do I think it was a good album? Yes. Is it my favorite from him? No. I think that the Dangerous Double album had more hits and the songs displayed a bigger variety. There were a few songs. So Morgan does this thing and it makes him stand out, and I get why he does it. But his albums are long, like 36 songs long, somewhere around there. And I just think that some of them were a little too similar to each other, where I was like, I could have gone without this one. Like, I think if we scaled back the number on the album, he could form just one album of 15 really good songs. There was just a few, I can't even really name them, but a little too many on the I'm sad and heartbroken, so I drink whiskey. It's I know that that's his thing, but there was a few where I was like, I feel like this is the same thing. However, there are many songs that I loved on it. Every single that he released beforehand was phenomenal. Last Night, Everything I Love, One Thing at a Time, You Proof, Don't Think Jesus, Thought You Should Know, Tennessee Fan, all phenomenal songs. I do think that those ones were the best ones off the album. Everything I Love is my jam right now. My jam. And I also liked, this wasn't a single, but I liked Tennessee Number. I thought that was a good one. So Morgan's album, I will give a B-. I'm going to give it a B-, but a B- almost B, in that range, 83 or something like that. Next, Kelsea Ballerini's EP. If you have not listened to Kelsea Ballerini's EP, if you do not know what's going on in Kelsea Ballerini's life, I highly encourage you to pause. Go listen to Call Her Daddy when Kelsea Ballerini came on. You don't even have to listen to the whole thing. I think I listened to the first 15 minutes, and that was enough for me. She has been in the media. If you haven't seen, I'm sure you have. She's been in the media a lot because she started dating Chase Stokes. Jealous. not the point. They're really cute together. But she had just gotten out of a divorce a few months ago with her ex-husband, who was also a country singer, and rumors were flying around, things were flying around. He released a song before their divorce was finalized saying, like, you blindsided me. Like, I don't know where this came from. How long have you been waiting to take our pictures down? There were, like, cheating rumors with her and stuff. I like Kelsea Ballerini. I love her music. I think she has a beautiful voice. I saw her when she opened for none other than the Jonas Brothers, and she is a stellar performer. So I was very invested when I heard that she was dating Chase Stokes and stuff about her divorce. So I listened to Call Her Daddy. And she did exactly what you do when you go on Call Her Daddy. She let it loose. She was completely honest, and hearing her talk about how bad her relationship was made me really sad for her, and Alex, well, she does a better job talking about it with Alex on the podcast, but paraphrasing here, it sucks. Like, sometimes you get married and then people change down the line, and you're just not married to the same person that you were married to. And yes, I'm a big contender for, like, it's marriage is a commitment. You don't just give up on marriage easily, and I don't think she did. From what she explained, she had been battling and staying silent for a very long time, and she did try and fight it, and she did try and make it worth it, and it just, like, the time came where it had to end. Making a long story short, the way she explained it was basically, she was giving her all to this relationship. Like, if she was the one basically financially funding the relationship, like, if she wanted to see her husband, because, they both tour and do different things, she would book him a flight, or she would book herself a flight, and she would make the plans and stuff. And, like, they would get in arguments and she would sleep on the couch, and it was just not good. And then he kind of retaliated and was, like, blaming her for being the one to leave. But she's like, listen, this was over. Like, what type of relationship was this? So if you want to know more about it, definitely listen to the podcast, but then listen to the EP. Even if you don't care about Kelsea Ballerini's life per se, listen to the EP. I, for one, can confidently say I've never been in a situation where I've had to get divorced. It just hasn't happened for me. But this it has a way of touching you when you don't have anything to even relate to it. It is a damn good EP. And the thing that I like about it too is it was very Taylor Swift-esque in the songwriting style. And what I mean by that is she was not like, this EP was an EP for a purpose. She's not writing songs so they're poppy and they get on the radio. She was writing lyrics that were her genuine, true thoughts. Very poetic too. Might not be a radio hit. Taylor Swift's best songs are the ones that aren't on the radio. And these matched that for me, and they told a story and made you feel what she was feeling. And I need you guys to listen to it. It was phenomenal. And that, like, I have to give that an A+. Even the interlude, like, oh my God, it was so freaking good. I'm just blown away by it, and now I'm very invested in the situation and her life. So I will be following all the Kelsea Ballerini and Chase Stokes drama. So I got a question this week from one of my friends who's getting into weightlifting and all that kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, if somebody that's very, new to this and trying to learn more has a question, it would probably make for a good podcast episode. So I thought that I would sit down and give y'all a lesson today on how to determine if you're doing the right amount of reps, what is a good rep range for you, and what does training until failure mean? I hear that term a lot, training until failure. And it wasn't until more recently than it should have been that I really understood what training until failure meant. And I will say, training until failure takes a lot of discipline. I it's definitely something that I struggle with on my own, because when your body feels pain, it wants to stop. It wants to stop. But that doesn't mean like you're not capable of more. That doesn't mean you're exhausted. It just, your body's like, "Oh, we're in pain. Let's stop doing this." And I say that to my clients a lot. I have clients where, it's like rep 8 and they're like, "Oh, it hurts." And they go to stop. And I'm like, yeah, it hurts, but keep going. Your body's telling you, "Oh, I want to stop. I don't like this feeling." But you still have more in you. And that's the whole point of, when they say like, you got to get uncomfy, to get comfy. So let's start by talking about reps. How do you know if you are doing the right amount of reps? It has like scientifically been proving that bodybuilders get the most results when their weight, the weight that they're using in each exercise, represents about 70% of their 1 rep maximum. What the hell is a 1 rep maximum? I will start off by saying you are not always going to you're not going to test every single exercise for your 1 rep maximum. There is some guesstimating. I'm not going to go and be like, "Okay, let's max out bicep curls. What's my 1 rep maximum?" But as you're doing sets and kind of trial and erroring things, which is part of a process, you will get a gauge. Like if I can do 15 pounds for 10 reps, I'm sure that I could do 30 pounds for 1 rep. You know what I mean? In the least. So sometimes it's a little trial and error. And that's why I always suggest to my clients, write things down. The app that I use with my clients, they put in the weight that they use during each exercise so we can keep track and make sure we're progressively overloading and using the appropriate weights. But 70% of your 1 rep maximum is the working weight that you should be at. So how many reps? Now that we figured out what weight we should be using, how many reps should I be doing? For upper body, it's optimal to get in between 8 to 12 repetitions. I want to preface by saying this. Can you gain muscle from using a different rep range? Yes, you can. I forget the exact numbers, but I think they said it's somewhere in between either 3 or 5 to 20 reps you can gain muscle, but I'm just talking optimally right now. 8 to 12 reps per set for the upper body, 12 to 15 for the lower body. Why? Like, what's the difference? Why more for the lower body? You know what? I have a passage in front of me that I'm going to read. I think that will do it's from the New Modern Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. Why can you do more repetitions for the legs than the upper body? Simply because the fall off in strength over the course of a set is slower in legs than it is for upper body. Upper body muscles just don't have the same endurance as leg muscles. And here is the reason why. That was from the book, but now I'm going to explain why. The muscle groups in the legs are composed of more and bigger muscles. They are bigger muscles than the muscle groups in the upper body, which is why we have more muscular endurance. Muscular endurance refers to, how long your muscles can go for until they're tired. Same thing with running. Think of it as that. Since the muscles are bigger, they can work for longer, therefore we should be training them for longer. I think that that's a pretty good way to explain it. So since our leg muscles, let's say the quadricep itself is, it's pretty large group compared to the biceps and the triceps, but the quadricep itself is composed of four different muscles. There's 4 parts to the quadricep. So my quadriceps can handle more reps and have greater muscular endurance than my biceps, which the bicep muscles itself are smaller and they're only composed of 2 different muscles. Does that make sense? So because they're bigger, they can last longer and handle more. And I think that that's a pretty easy way of explaining it. I don't want to elaborate anymore and end up confusing you guys, but just remember 8 to 12 reps for the upper body and 12 to 15 reps for the lower body. Now, within those rep range, it's like, okay, I just gave you a rep range. How do you know which one to pick? Do I go for 8 reps? Do I go for 10 reps? Do I go for 11 reps? And this is where training to failure is coming into play. Training to failure is important. I have another passage here I'm going to read. When you are doing reps with weight less than your 1 rep maximum, all the muscle fibers available don't come into play at once. You use some, they become fatigued, and then the body recruits others to take their place. Continuing a set to failure is a way of demanding that all the available fibers are recruited. So what the heck does that mean? Training till failure makes sure that we're using all of the muscle fibers that we should be using. And if we're not training until failure, we could be neglecting some. So let's use the back as an example, or let's use anything as an example. If I am training until failure doing lat pull downs, let's say I'm using all those muscles in my back, but when I'm training till failure, there's going to be a part where the latissimus dorsi muscle fibers. I know that was a big word. The lat muscle fibers are going to get exhausted, and other muscles in the back are going to take over. If I'm not training till failure, I'm not giving those other muscle fibers the opportunity to perform. Same thing, and the biceps help too, So does that make sense? If you're training till failure, you are giving all of the muscle fibers a chance to work, because when one gets exhausted, when one muscle fiber gets exhausted, your body turns to a different one to help. I hope that makes sense. So that's why training till failure is important, but what does training until failure look like? When we exercise, when we weight lift, there's oxidation that occurs in our bodies. And what that means is that there's blood and oxygen that flows to the muscle group. When we stop weightlifting, or when we stop the exercise or the set, the oxygen leaves and some of the blood leaves. Training until failure basically means you should be going until you can't go anymore. You can't go without a break. You don't want to take breaks during your set because you don't want that oxygen to leave. I'm pointing to my bicep as just as a reflex, because I'm thinking about doing curls. And that's why I stress with my clients, they'll want to take a break and on set 8, just rest for a second before going back. And I'm like, no, we're keeping going. We're going. Because when you stop, that oxidation, that oxygen is leaving the muscle. So I'll be doing curls, and it's going to get painful. Rep 8, it's going to get painful, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. And if I hit 10 reps and I got another one in me, I'm going. I'm going to keep going. And that's what training until failure looks like. It looks like you are continuing the exercise until you physically can't do it without a break, or you can't get the full rep in. So I'll be going. And the next one, it takes everything in me, or I can only get the curl up halfway. That's when I know I'm done. And it is a lot easier, I'm not going to lie, a lot easier to train until failure when you have a training partner with you. Because like I said in the beginning of this segment, when we feel pain, we think, oh, that's it. I need a break. I can't do anymore. But you have to be disciplined and you have to be honest with yourself. And that's why having a trainer is great, or having a training partner is great, because it's nice to have someone over that shoulder be like, don't stop. I see you have more in you. And I've found that I have the most effective lifts that way. So what should your sets kind of look like, right? I go for 4 sets. They have proven that 4 sets is pretty standard, optimal. You could also do an optional 5th set if that first set is a very light warm-up for you. First set, Warm up with a little bit of lighter weight. Get the opportunity to get the muscles warmed up so your 70%, so your capability for the next few sets is greater. So the first set you want to have about 12 to 15 reps at a slightly lighter weight, depending on what it is. For upper body, I'll go for like 12 reps. For lower body, I'll go for like 15 reps for that first set. We take a break, and then for the second set, add on weight, and the reps will drop down. So we'll add on weight, and now we're working more in between the 10 to 12 repetition range. Third set, add more weight, and bring that failure point down to 8 to 10 reps. So you should be training until failure, but you want your failure to be around 8 to 10 reps now. So pick a weight in that range. Fourth set, maximum strength. Add enough weight that you can get in between that 6 to 8 or 8 to 10, depending on what body part it is, range. Your fourth set should be your heaviest, strongest set. That is your working weight. That is your working set. And then optional fifth set, people like to do the same thing, or some people drop it down and do a little bit of a lighter, like in between that 12 to 15 rep range again. And that's that. So that's training till failure. That's how many reps we should be doing and what an ideal cluster of sets for an exercise looks like. And I hope that that was self-explanatory, or not self-explanatory, but easy to digest and for you guys to understand, because I wish when I started that I had this information, or that I didn't know I didn't wait 4 years along to learn this piece of information. Well, it looks like I spoke a little too soon last week when I gave my Outer Banks opinions, because things have changed. First of all, let's get this one out of the way. I would like to say that I was right about Cleo and Pope, and we knew that one was coming. We knew where that was going. I would like to formally take back when I said that I saw character development in Topper, and that I feel bad for him because he's just a little boy in love. Yeah, I would like to apologize for saying that. Topper friggin' sucks and is a spoiled kook. That's the only way to say it. I knew that John B was going to find out about Sarah hooking up with Topper. I didn't think that she was going to straight up tell him to his face and try and get, like, she was trying to do the right thing, in my opinion, by being like, I don't want to have any secrets with you. I don't want to try and hide this. I am so sorry. But I don't blame him for being pissed off because she's a cheater. Like, she's a serial cheater. And that's basically what he says. Like, he's like, I should have known she's a cheater. And it's not right. But I liked it because it brought, like, it reminded me of the first season. Like, it brought that kind of vibe back. And he obviously sees her dancing with Topper, gets pissed off. But Topper, that little shit says something. I forget what he says. Says something along the lines of, like, yeah, no hard feelings, bro. And he got the ass kicking that he deserved, because he is just a shit. Like, he is just annoying. And I think that it's obviously all on Sarah for cheating, but you're fucked up if you're hitting on someone or trying to take someone when you know that they're in a relationship. Like, it's a different type of fault and a different type of wrong than what Sarah did, but it's fucked up. And I don't like Topper for that. And he set John B's house on fire. and then has the nerve to try and get him arrested. I have questions. This season, I thought that this season was great. I thought the ending was great, but it left me with questions, and I hope that they get answered in season 4. I need repercussions with Topper. That's my number one thing on the agenda. Like, let's not forget that he actually lit John B's house on fire. Let's have them find out. Let's see him get in trouble for that. Like, I want to revisit that situation, and I want Topper to get a swift beating for it. I would like that to happen. Like, we kind of ended the season and that slid to the side. I'm interested. I need more on that scenario. John B's dad kicked the bucket, and I gotta say, pretty glad. He's one that I didn't change my opinion on. He's abusive emotionally. He was a dick and a half to Sarah, which, listen, I get it. Like, Ward tried to kill him, but he was a dick and a half to Sarah. And then the second that John B was like, yeah, she figured out the puzzle, she found the gold, Big John's like, woohoo, you're one of us. We love you. And it's like, dude, shut up. Like, you were willing to risk her life like minutes ago just because she found your freaking gold. Like, I think that was really that was what was most important to him in life. And even when he was dying and was like, I'll see you back home, I didn't buy that shit. Like, I didn't buy it. I'm like, yeah, he's proud of you and he loves you, John B, but he loves you because you helped him find like his life's mission. And then he completed his life's mission and died. So that's my opinion on that. Ward dying. Insane. It's insane to me that he's actually dead. I thought that Madeline Klein did phenomenal in that scene. Her reaction and her tears and her screams were so genuine. She just did phenomenal. I felt for her in that scene where I was like, this is like your dad. She hated her dad. He tried to kill her. And that's like a baggage that she has to carry with her for the rest of her life. Like, having these problems with her family is enough. It doesn't matter. Like, she's the type of person, and I kind of resonate with this. It doesn't matter how wrong your parents have done you. It's still your dad at the end of the day. And to see him get shot, especially taking the bullet for you and then his limp body on the ground, that's tough. That is more than that girl should handle or have to be handling. But that leads me with another question. Like, we fast forwarded a few months at the end and we see their journeys are not done. They're going to be going on another quest. But what are they doing? Like, are they 18 now? Because they're both orphans. And in season 1, John B was 16, I believe. And he was like they were like out to get him. Like, they're like, yo, you got to go to child services. Like, you can't just have no parents. But because this is 2 years later, I want to believe that they're 18 now, so it doesn't matter. And I know that Ward had left Sarah money and stuff, but I would like a little bit more information on how they're functioning. I would like a little age check, if we could just throw that in there. I know they said like Pope's going to be leaving for college, so that's what also makes me believe like, oh, they have to be 18 now. But that's another thing that I've been wondering. Also, like, what's good with Rafe? Like, we got rid of Ward, but what's good with Rafe? He's sus. He is sus to the core, and he, in my opinion, is more dangerous than Ward because Ward was handicapped. Ward is a sicko. Not for 1 second did I believe that he was gonna not do something fucked this season. I think I posted a story when I was watching it. It was like, terminate him already. Like, bye. Like, you suck. And then like 5 minutes later, he was terminated. So thanks, Outer Banks writers, for granting my wishes there. But overall, good season. I want to take back what I said on Topper. My opinions changed. John B and Sarah are in a good place, but like, can we go season 4 without her cheating on him? I would love that. Obviously, there's going to be relationship drama. There always is. I would just love that. The whole Key thing, still weird to me. I don't know. I don't see her and JJ lasting. Also, every time she said Jage, I wanted to smack her across the face. Like, badly. Also, what's up with JJ? That's another thing I need to know. Like, this man came home and had no parents, no home. What's his deal? What's the deal? I don't know. John B was barely making it on as he was in season 1. I need to know their living situation and their money situations. I need to know. That was left unsettled for me. And that's it. Those were my main thoughts. Those are the questions that I have. I think John B came back to his senses and he was good old John B, like I knew he would be. He stuck up for Sarah. He recognized his dad's behavior. Sarah pulled her shit together, but I still think she has ways to go. And the rest of the gang is just a great old time, you know. I freaking love Pope. He's such a good man. I think Cleo's a good addition too, and I'm excited to see their adventures next season. I think that the whole Davy Jones locker thing was very intriguing, and I can't wait to see what's in store for the gang. Jump into some questions for the week. We did not do any questions last week, so I have a few for y'all today. I guess I should start with my spiel. I almost just rambled on here without giving my most important part. I put up question boxes every single Monday on the Instagram at Confessions of a Gym Rat. You could also DM, email, whatever, comments or questions, and they could be answered that way. So today's first question, what are your favorite bulking foods? When I'm bulking, some of my favorite snacks, actually, I've been loving the 1-Up muffins and brookies. They're like 250 calories with 17 grams of protein. Delicious. I also switch from the Oikos Triple Zero to the Oikos Pro yogurt, and I'll throw in some granola, some almond butter, more of that kind of stuff. And then meal-wise, I've been kind of experimenting and making meals with more stuff. I want to say stuff in them. Like last week, I made coconut crusted chicken with sweet chili sauce, homemade mango salsa over rice. Delicious, but like 700 calories, which is something that I wouldn't eat when I'm cutting since I don't eat that much. That would be like a third of my food for the day. Other favorite bulking foods? Off the top of my head, that's really it. I just eat bigger portions and I put in some stuff like almond butter and nuts and trail mix. I'm a girl who loves trail mix. I'll tell you that much. That's a favorite bulking food. There we go. How do you balance 6 days a week in the gym with social life and other goals outside of fitness? So that's basically the purpose of my whole podcast. So I talk a lot about it like every episode, and I've had specific episodes on it. But in summary and in a short version for the sake of this segment, making a schedule will save your life. I plan out my schedule for every day and I create a routine for myself and it stays the same between week to week, but planning out your day in advance makes everything possible. That is my biggest tip. Next question asks, what is your nationality? My nationality is I am half Italian and half Chinese, which is why I'm learning Italian. Can I say I am Italian? No. Yes. No. Io sono italiano. I think that's it. Io sono italiano. But io non sono di Italia. There we go. I'm Italian, but I'm not from Italy. I think. I don't know. I'm learning. You guys know this. All right. Not a question. Sorry if it's done already, but if you've done an episode about fitness competitions. No, I haven't, but I think I will do that. Thank you very much. Last question. What are your favorite stretches and do you change them for specific muscle groups? Yes, I do change them for specific muscle groups. I stretch a lot during yoga, but before I go into every workout, I do dynamic warm up and with some stretches. Off the top of my head, I love half pigeons for my hips, or I'll take one leg and ankle and cross it over my other knee and pull in. I actually just posted a reel like last week on Lifts with Liz about favorite hip stretches. For hamstrings, I love doing scoops. I'll get down and do some scoops. For my shoulders, I do shoulder dislocators. So I'll take a band, spread it so it's taut, and I'll circle my arms back and forward to warm up the shoulders. I'll do band pull-aparts for the rear delts. And those are the stretches off the top of my head. But I do have some reels up on Lifts with Liz that go into stretching and stuff. But that's it. Those are the questions for this week. So make sure you ask your questions. Look out for them. You can leave them in the reviews. And we will answer some more next week. All right, guys. So that pretty much wraps it up for this week's episode of Confessions of a Gym Rat. Next week, I will be in LA. So hopefully I will get this episode out on Monday when it is supposed to come out. But if I'm a little late, just bear with me. I'll be busy all weekend. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. St. Patty's Day is coming up, so get yourself something cute. I've seen Amazon have a lot of cute stuff. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Lifts with Liz. Follow the podcast on Instagram at Confessions of a Gym Rat. And subscribe on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's interview episode, and I'll talk to y'all next.